Since today is Dr. Seuss Day, I figured that I would read a few of his books. Let's begin with The Cat in the Hat. The Cat in the Hat. The sun did not shine, it was too wet to play, so he sat in the house all that cold, wet day. I sat there with Sally, we sat there, we two. And I said, how I wish we had something to do. Too wet to go out and too cold to play ball. So we sat in the house, we did nothing at all. All we could do was sit. And we did not like it, not one little bit. But then something went bump. How that bump made us jump. We looked and we saw him step on the mat. We looked and we saw him, the cat in the hat. And he said to us, why do you sit there like that? I know it is wet and the sun is not sunny, but we can have lots of good fun that is funny. I know some good games we can play, said the cat. I know some new tricks, said the cat in the hat. A lot of good tricks. I will show them to you. Your mother will not mind at all if I do. And Sally and I did not know what to say. Our mother was out of the house for the day. But our fish said, no, make that cat go away. Tell that cat in the hat you do not want to play. He should not be here. He should not be about. He should not be here when your mother is out. Now, said the cat. Have no fear, said the cat. My tricks are not bad, said the cat in the hat. Why, we can have lots of good fun if you wish, with a game that I call up with a fish. Put me down, said the fish. This is no fun at all. Put me down, said the fish. I do not wish to fall. Have no fear, said the cat. I will not let you fall. I will hold you up high as I stand on a ball, with a book in one hand and a cup on my hat. But that is not all I can do, said the cat. Look at me now, said the cat. With a cup and a cake on top of my hat, I can hold up 2 books. I can hold up the fish and a little toy ship and some milk on a dish. And look, I can hop up and down on the ball. But that is not all. Oh no, that is not all. Look at me now. It is fun to have fun, but you have to know how. I can hold up the cup and the milk and the cake. I can hold up these books and the fish on a rake. I can hold the toy ship and a little toy man. And look, with my tail I can hold a red fan. I can fan with the fan as I hop on the ball, but that is not all. Oh no, that is not all. That is what the cat said, and then he fell on his head. He came down with a bump from up there on the ball. And Sally and I, we saw all the things fall. And our fish came down too. He fell into a pot. He said, do I like this? Oh no, I do not. This is not a good game, said our fish as he lit. No, I do not like it, not one little bit. Now look what you did, said the fish to the cat. Now look at this house, look at this, look at that. You sank our toy ship, sank it deep in the cake. You shook up our house and you bent our new rake. You should not be here when your mother is out. You get out of this house, said the fish in the pot. But I like to be here. Oh, I like it a lot, said the cat in the hat. To the fish in the pot I will not go away. I do not wish to go. And so, said the cat in the hat, so, I will show you another good game that I know. And then he ran out, and then fast as a fox, the cat in the hat came back in with a box. A big red wood box. It was shut with a hook. Now look at this trick, said the cat in the hat. Take a look. Then he got up on top with the tip of his hat. I call this game fun in a box, said the cat. And these boxes are 2 things I will show to you now. You will like these 2 things, said the cat with a bow. I will pick up the hook. You will see something new. 2 things, and I call them thing 1 and thing 2. These things will not bite you. They want to have fun. Then out of the box came thing 1 and thing 2, and they ran as fast. I said, "How do you do? Would you like to shake hands with thing 1 and thing 2?" Sally and I did not know what to do, so we had to shake hands with thing 1 and thing 2. We shook our 2 hands, but our fish said, "No, no, those things should not be in this house. Make them go. They should not be here when your mother is not. Put them out, said the fish in the pot. Have no fear, little fish," said the cat in the hat. "These things are good things," and he gave them a pet. "They are tame, oh so tame. They have come here to play. They will give you some fun on this wet, wet, wet day." Now here is a game that they like," said the cat. "They like to fly kites," said the cat in the hat. "No, not in the house," said the fish in the pot. They should not fly kites in a house. They should not. Oh, the things they will bump. Oh, the things they will hit. Oh, I do not like it, not one little bit." Then Sally and I saw them run down the hall. We saw those 2 things bump their kites on the wall. Bump, thump, thump, bump, down the wall in the hall. Thing 1 and thing 2, they ran up, they ran down. On the string of one kite, we saw Mother's new gown, her gown with the dots that are pink, white, and red. Then we saw one kite bump on the head of her bed. Then those things ran about with big bumps and jumps and kicks, and with hops and big thumps and all kinds of bad tricks. And I said, "I do not like the way that they play. If Mother could see this, what would she say?" Then our fish said, "Look, look," and our fish shook with fear. "Your mother is on her way home, do you hear? Oh, what will she do to us? What will she say? Oh, she will not like it to find us this way. So do something fast," said the fish. "Do you hear? I saw her, your mother is near. Think of something to do. You've got to get rid of thing 1 and thing 2. So as fast as I could, I went after my net, and I said, "With my net, I can get them. I bet. I bet with my net, I can get those things yet." And I let down my net. It came down with a plop, and I had them. At last, those 2 things had to stop. Then I said to the cat, "Now you do as I say. You pack up these things and you take them away." "Oh dear," said the cat, "you did not like our game. Oh dear, what a shame, what a shame, what a shame." And he shut up the things in the box with the hook, and the cat went away with a sad kind of look. "That is good," said the cat. "He has gone away, yes. But your mother will come. She will find this big mess. And this mess is so big, so deep, and so tall, we cannot pick it up. There is no way at all." And then, who was back in the house? Why, the cat. "Have no fear of this mess," said the cat in the hat. "I shall pick up all my playthings, and so I shall show you another good trick that I know." Then we saw him pick up all the things that were down. He picked up the cake and the rake and the gown and the milk and the strings and the books and the dish and the fan and the cup and the ship and the fish. And he put them away and said, "That is that." And then he was gone with the tip of his hat. Then our mother came in, and she said to us 2, "Did you have any fun? Tell me, what did you do?" And my mother and Sally and I did not know what to say. Should we tell her the things that went on there that day? Should we tell her about it? Now, what should we do? Well, what would you do if your mother asked you? Now, this was a very good book, I do have to say. This is a very good book. Now let's read another classic, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. All the Who's. I might read Horton Hears a Who, but I might. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Who's, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown, and the warm, lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now, hanging a holly mistletoe wreath. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas, it's practically here. Then he growled with his Grinch fingers, nervously drumming. I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming. For tomorrow, he knew, all the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early. They'd rush for their toys, and then, oh, the noise, noise. That's one thing he hated, the noise. Then the Who's, young and old, would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beast, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together. With Christmas bells ringing, they stand hand in hand, and the Who's would start singing. They'd sing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I put up with it now. I must stop Christmas from coming. But how? Then he got an idea. An awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do. The Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat, and he chuckled and clucked. What a great Grinchy trick! With this coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer was scarce, there was none to be found. But did that stop the old Grinch? No. The Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max, and he took some red thread, and he tied a big horn on top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said giddy up, and the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. All their windows were dark. Quiet snow filled the air. All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square, this is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed as he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once for a moment or two, and he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Who stockings all hung in a row. These stockings, he grinned, are the first things to go. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present, popcorn, pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn and plums, and he stuffed them in bags, and the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney. Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. So he cleaned out the icebox as quick as a flash. Why, he even took the last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. And now, grinned the Grinch, I will stuff up the tree. And the Grinch grabbed the tree, and as he started to shove, he heard a small sound as like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast, and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou Who, who was no more than two. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter, who'd got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, "Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?" But you know that old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie, and he thought it up quick. "Why, my sweet little tot," the fake Santa Claus lied, "there's a light on this tree that won't light on one side, so I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, then I'll bring it back here." And his fib fooled the child, and he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who was in bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Then the last thing he took was a log for their fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same to all the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was 1/4 dawn, all the Who's still abed, all the Who's still a snooze. Then he packed up his sled, packed it up with the presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags and the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings. And 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Pooh-pooh to the Who's, he grinchishly humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open in a moment or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry, "Boo-hoo." "That's a noise," grinned the Grinch, "that I simply must hear." So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, and it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, the sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet, ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons, it came without tags, it came without packages, boxes, or bags. Then he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. And he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast. Do, 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 do. Okay. Now we're going to read Heart and Here's a Who. Don't worry, this is almost done. On the 15th of May, in the jungle of Nook, in the heat of the day, in the pool of the pool, he was splashing, enjoying the jungle's great joys, when Horton the elephant heard a small noise. So Horton stopped splashing. He looked toward the sound. That's funny, thought Horton. There's no one around. Then he heard it again, just a very faint yelp, as if if some tiny person was calling for help. I'll help you, said Horton, but who are you? Where? He looked and he looked. He could see nothing there but a small speck of dust blowing past through the air. I say, murmured Horton, I've never heard tell of a small speck of dust that was able to yell. So you know what I think? Why, I think that there must be someone on top of that small speck of dust. Some sort of creature of very small size, too small to be seen by an elephant's eyes. Some poor little person who's shaking with fear that'll blow in the pool. He has no way to steer. I'll just have to save him, because after all, a person's a person, no matter how small. So gently, using the greatest of care, the elephant stretched his great trunk through the air and lifted the dust speck and carried it over and placed it down safe on a very soft clover. Humph! Humped a voice. 'Twas a sour kangaroo, and the young kangaroo in her pouch said huff too. Why, that speck is as small as the head of a pin. A person on that, why, there never has been. Believe me, said Horton, I'll tell you sincerely. My ears are quite keen, and I heard them quite clearly. I know there's a person down there, and what's more, quite likely there's 2 or 3 or even 4. A family, for all that we know. A family with children that just starting to grow. So please, said Horton, as a favor to me, try not to disturb them. Please let them be. I think you're a fool, laughed the sour kangaroo. And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, me too. You're the biggest blame fool in the jungle of Newell. And the kangaroos plunged in the cool of the pool. What terrible splashing, the elephant frowned. I can't let my very small persons get drowned. I've got to protect them. And now I'm bigger than they. So he plucked up the clover and hustled away. He threw the high jungle treetops. The news quickly spread. He talks to a dust speck. He's out of his head. Just look at him walk with that speck on that flower. And Horton walked, worrying, almost an hour. Should I put the speck down? Horton thought with alarm. If I do, these small persons may come to great harm. I can't put it down, and I won't, after all. A person's a person, no matter how small. I'm really sorry, guys, but I'm gonna have to end it here. I was going to read the Lorax. You know what? I'm sorry I couldn't finish one here, so it's just too long. This one's a lot shorter. I'll read it really fast. At the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, is the street of the Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax, and why was it there, and why was it lifted and taken somewhere from the far end of town where the grickle grass grows? The old Onceler still lives here. Ask him, he knows. You won't see the Onceler, don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkum on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkum cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffled moof. And on special dank midnights in August he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks, and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather snail. Then he pulls up the bale, makes the most careful amount to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you've paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole in his gruvulous gruff. Then he grunts, "I will call you by whisper, my phone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone." Slap down slups the whispermophone to your ear, and the old one's whispers are not very clear, since they have come down through a snurgling hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. "Now I'll tell you," he says, with his teeth sounding gray, "how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the sound of the swami swans rang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place. Then I saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots, frisking about in their barbaloot suits as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruit. From the rippling pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. But those truffula trees, all my life I've been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts were much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I had a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I'd unload in my cart. In no time at all, I'd built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill, and with great speedy speed, I took the small tuft and kneaded a thneed. The instant I finished, I heard a gazump. I looked, I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I chopped down. It was a sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't think that I can. He was shortish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. "Mister," said the Lorax with a sawdusty sneeze, "I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees, for the trees have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs." He was very upset as he shouted and puffed, "What's that thing you made out of my truffula tuft?" "Look, Lorax," I said, "there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I am doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed's a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. But it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for seats, or curtains, or covers for bicycle seats." The Lorax said, "Sir, you're crazy with greed. Why, there's no one on earth who would buy that for thneed." But the next very moment, I proved he was wrong. For just at that minute, a chap came along, and he thought the thneed I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. "You poor stupid guy. You can never tell what some people will buy." "Please, I repeat," cried the Lorax, "I speak for the trees. I'm busy," I told him. "Shut up, if you please." I rushed across the room, and in no time I had all built a radiophone. I put in a quick call. I called all my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, "Listen here. Here's a wonderful chance for the whole Once-a family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at Weehawken and sharp right at South Fitch." And in no time at all in the factory I'd built, the whole Once-a family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. Then, oh, baby, oh, how my business did grow! Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow, so I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked out 4 truffula trees at one smacker. We were making thneeds 4 times as fast as before, and the Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, "I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots, who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits and happily lived eating truffula fruits." Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go round. And my poor barbeloots are getting all the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. They love living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys, he said, and he sent them away. I, the one slayer, felt sad as I watched them all go. But business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. I meant no harm, I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered the loads of the seeds I shipped out. I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more needs, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. I am the Lorax, he coughed and he whiffed. He sniffed, sneezed and snuffled. He snargled, he sniffed. Onceler, he cried with a crefulous croak. My Onceler, you're making so much smogulous smoke. My poor swami swans, why they can't sing a note. No one can sing without smog in his throat. So, please pardon, said the Lorax, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They'll have to fly for a month or a year to escape the smog from the smog you smogged up around here. What's more, said the Lorax as dander was up, let me say a few words about Gluppity-Glup. Your machinery runs day and night without stop, making gluppity-glup and also sloppity-slop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old onceler man, you. You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is weary. They'll walk on their fins in search of, and woefully weary, in search of some water that isn't so smeary. Then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax. Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap yap and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights here, and I'm telling you I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffula trees into sneeds, which everyone needs. And from that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From the sound from the outside in the fields came the sickening smack on an axe on a tree. Then we saw the tree fall. The very last truffula tree of them all. No more trees, no more needs, no more work to be done. And in no time, my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They jumped in their cars and in my cars and drove away under the smoke-smothered stars. Now all that was left beneath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad backward glance, as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants, and I'll never forget the grim look on his face as he hoisted himself and took leave of this place, through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago, but each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So, catch! calls the onceler. You let something fall, it's a truffula seed, it's the last one of all. You're in charge of the truffula seeds, and truffula seeds are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula, treat it with care. Give it clean water. Feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack. And the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. I'm really sorry that I couldn't finish Horton Hears a Who. It's just a really, really long book, but maybe some other time I'll finish it. But,